Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Broom Tree Podcast. My name is Eric and I'm so excited for today's episode. It is the biggest episode we've ever done. We brought in 4 different moms from 4 different stages of motherhood to talk about what being a mom was like for them, is like for them, what they hope it looks like in the future. And so if you're not a mom though, don't turn away because we do have some helpful tips and ideas for Mother's Day. And so stay tuned, sit back, relax. If you haven't already though, go ahead and follow, like, subscribe, comment, DM, email, check out the merch. I could go on and on, but thank you guys so much for your support as always. So sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode. What is your name and how many kids do you have?
My name's Tony. I have 2 biological children and 2 stepchildren from my current marriage.
Oh, this one's hard. My name's Annie. Annie Fry, and I have 1 daughter. She's 4 years old. Her name is Blakely.
Well, my name is Yolanda Wright. I would have had 9.
Would have had 9?
Yeah.
Okay, explain that a little bit.
I had a son that died after he came out, maybe 30 minutes later. He didn't have a brain.
Okay.
And then I lost 2 in a car wreck.
My name is Amanda Phillips, and I have 1 baby.
What are their ages? And if you had to guess, where are they right now?
Well, Mercedes, she's 33, and she's probably at home with all of her children.
Okay.
She's probably cooking, or no, they done ate, and they're in the bed because she's a drill sergeant. And of course, Damon's deceased, and he would have been 32. No, he would have been 31. Then we have DeMarco. He lives in Kentucky, Bowling Green.
Okay.
So that's where he lives. What he's doing now, he's probably studying because he's in school right now. He'll be 30 in August. And then we have Tristan. Tristan, he has 2 boys.
Okay.
And a wife. So he's probably still working too. No, he'll be 28
Okay.
in May. This month, the 20th. And then we have Tommy. Tommy, he's going on 26 in October. Right now, he's working. Yeah, he's working. They work a lot. They have good work ethics, like their mama. And then we have Nia. Nia's the baby. She's 23.
Okay.
And what she's doing, she just had her baby, so she has 2.
Okay.
She's probably home either cleaning or... No, she's not cleaning right now because she had surgery. So she's supposed to be good, but she's not being
She's
good.
probably doing some sort of work even though she's not supposed to.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like from the drill instructor all the way down to the one working when they shouldn't, it sounds like you've instilled a lot of work ethic in them.
You have to. You have to.
Yeah.
Because, you can't be lazy.
Yeah.
Life ain't going to give you anything being lazy.
She is going to be 14 months tomorrow because I am that mother that counts in months and I keep up with it by the day. And she is at home with Nana right now, living her best life, being doted on probably way too much.
She's 4 years old. Her name is Blakely. She's at school.
The oldest, Holly, she's going to make me do math on how old they are now. 36 on her birthday this year. She is probably a dance tonight with her girls. Then there is Cody, who is 31, and he's probably just getting off work, headed home. Then Anthony is 29, and he's at work tonight. And then my youngest, Eric, is 20. He'll be 28 on his birthday.
Yep.
And he's sitting across from me.
That is me, the baby, the favorite. Sorry, guys. It just is what it is. What was Mother's Day like for you when you were a child with your mom or grandma?
With my mom, we always went to church every Sunday, but on Mother's Day we always got a corsage. And so we would get you would get a red corsage if your mother was living, and then you would get a white one if your mother had passed away. So I just remember we always went on Saturdays to get our corsages. And when I was really young, I remember the first time that my granny had to get a white corsage, and that was really sad. And then I remember the first time my mama had to get a white corsage, and I remember that being very specific memories.
Do you remember when your grandmother passed?
She passed away. It's probably been 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is your mom still with us?
She is, yeah.
Well, when I got up to maybe 14,
Right.
yeah, that was cool because I have a big sister that always made sure their mama was taken care of. Because
Okay.
she was really the mama. And my mama was really like my sister. My sister was a worker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that's where you got it from? A
I
little
got
bit with
that
watching
from,
her?
no, I got that from my mom and my dad. They both
Okay.
were workers. My dad, he died in 88. Actually, my dad died on Mother's Day of 1988.
Wow.
May 8th of 88. That would be a Mother's Day that I would have always remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we had bought Mom an entertainment system,
Okay.
and they called and said that he had died, so we had to go to the hospital.
It's much different than it is today, not as commercialized, I guess. It was the main focus was doing stuff, just for mom, being with mom, making it where she didn't have to work so hard that day. As a girl, a lot of times that could simply mean I made her a card myself, maybe, you know, did the extra dishes or extra chores so she could just sit and visit for the day. Of course, moms never did that, but that was the goal, is to take one thing off their plate, and that's when I was like, I say young. I mean, obviously when you're little, it involves your, other parent if you have one or whatever. But a lot of times at school or daycare or grandmothers or whoever participate. But that was the main goal. It always involved either a breakfast or dinner. When I got old enough to make breakfast, it was get up and make mom breakfast, and that evolves from things like cereal all the way to like a full-on breakfast as an adult. And
I would say pretty normal. I think like your typical Mother's Day, a lot of arts and crafts being made. I used to like make homemade cookies. I say homemade cookies. My parents would buy like the Betty Crocker cookies, and I would make them. I remember one year I made her like this like tray that I got to paint and everything, and it said like "mommy" on the front. And I made her breakfast and brought it to her bed. It probably tasted terrible, but and then like as I got older, obviously they're not as cute as that. They turn into phone calls and text messages and cards and lunches and stuff like that. We would do lunches with my mom and then her mom, Nana, who's watching Joe right now. And we kind of just combine them together. She worked a lot too, so we didn't always get to see her like the full day.
What do you think Mother's Day will look like this year?
I hope it's going to look amazing this year. I think it's going to be really sweet this year, and I'm probably putting way too high of expectations on it, but I'm very excited about it because I am very new to Mother's Day. And last year, I think we were out of town the weekend, but we were going to get back on Mother's Day. And then basically the whole time I just cried as I held her because I was an emotional wreck. I mean, we were just in the throes, like whatever the verbiage is, in the midst of that newborn stage. I was emotional, and she was just this little potato who cried just all the time because of her poor stomach issues. I don't really count it as my first Mother's Day. But this year she's all cute and cuddly and loves to just be like, "Hi, Mommy," like when I walk into the room, and I'm her whole world. She's my whole world, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
well, I like to do all aspects of it. I always, especially as my mom gets older, make sure that I don't want to say that's the only reason, but that's, she's a priority because as much as we don't like to admit it, as our parents get older, time on that end of Mother's Day gets limited. And so I generally will go over, I like to go over and either take or make breakfast, depending on what she's in the mood for. Then at some point in the weekend, I don't always restrict it to Mother's Day because everybody has busy lives, but as far as what my kids are for me, I just hope to spend time with them, whether that's going out to dinner the night before, going out to dinner the day of, whether or not they just, I don't know, you just want to know that, hey, they remembered it's Mother's Day and they acknowledge, that I exist kind of thing. And as far as being, a grandmother, the same kind of thing. I know the priority, I think, for the grandkids is to focus on their mom because it's Mother's Day. But, a little acknowledgement, it's cool, but it's not, I don't know, I don't want to say I'm not upset. It's always nice when you get it, but I do think that it's a focus on your mother. And as long as everybody, kind of trickles that in, that makes me happy. So,
I don't know because we're all scattered out.
Okay.
So if anything, I might see my daughter Mercedes. Well, I will see Sadie's and Nia, the girls. My boys, I probably will not see.
Okay.
Yeah, because they always doing something. They're always busy.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You should make time. It doesn't matter about Mother's Day. Mother's Day is every day. So if you don't show up somewhere, it doesn't matter. They work, you work. If you have a family, because you have to flee. A husband has to flee from their mother and their father. And then they have another family, so they have to make sure they're good too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Elaborate on that for me a little bit, because I know a lot of moms struggle with that tension of, I want to be appreciated as a mom, especially if they have sons, and now he has this wife, and especially if they have kids, because we're talking about motherhood. If they have kids, like, you are both a mom, and now he's providing for another woman's Mother's Day. Elaborate on that. How do you handle that?
At first, I was I can be honest. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
was selfish because I'm like,
Who is this woman?
I love her too.
Yeah.
Destiny. That's Tristan's wife.
Okay.
And I like at first, like I used to always do things, and then they would never show up. They would show up late, and I had like a little attitude.
Right. For sure.
But as time has went on, and I've grown and become like at peace with myself, I respect her because not only does she have children, and not only does he have children, but he has to make sure that his children take care of their mother.
Right.
So that'd be the best thing for me. Like, I understand that now.
We'll come to church.
Okay.
And it'll probably just be like a regular day.
Just another Sunday.
Just another Sunday.
Do you think you'll?
It actually will probably be different than most Sundays because most of the people that we know will be celebrating Mother's Day with their families.
Oh, okay.
And we'll probably be alone. It'll be me and Blakely.
If you could relive one Mother's Day, which one would it be?
Oh, man. Probably my first Mother's Day as a mother,
Okay.
which, now that I think about it, that was in May of 2020 when the whole world was shut down.
Okay.
But it was fun. I just was really happy to be a mom, just have my little girl.
Yeah.
And my mom actually sent us shirts. We didn't get to go home for Mother's Day, I guess because of COVID, but that's why we didn't. But she sent us these shirts. Me and Blakely had matching shirts, and it said "Our First Mother's Day." It was super sweet. I'll keep them forever.
Right now, probably last year. I say all of that because I miss that little newborn. I miss being in the midst of all the chaos. It's such a toxic relationship with that postpartum, but I think I took a lot for granted in those times because I was just so tired and so emotionally drained. That part of me kind of just wishes I could go back and just not go out of town, although it was really fun. we went to a concert. But also like just snuggle her and just hold that little potato a little extra longer.
Oh goodness. I'd have to think back through some of the years. It would be hard to pick just one
Okay.
because my first instinct answer
Mm-hmm.
is I would go back to one before my grandmother passed away.
Oh, I didn't even think about that dynamic.
Yeah, only
Yeah.
because I mean I lost her so young. She passed when I was 11, and much like things happen, today, like my grandmother was not one that worked outside the home, so she kept me as a child. Like I went before and after school and that kind of stuff. So I saw her day in and day out up through, 11 years old. So that would be my first instinctive answer as me outward.
Why do you think that is, though? What was so special about that?
We were just always close because we were with her 5, 6 days a week, and it wasn't just me. It was she kept my cousins as well. So we were like the siblings that we didn't have, and it was just unexpected. So it was like it just ended. So that just is how that happens sometimes. But I think just what I'd like to do is go back and relive one of those days. But I want to be me, so I can tell her all about all the things that have happened, which I know really won't happen. But that was just my first impulsive answer. But as far as a mom, I couldn't tell you exactly what year it was, because I like them all and I don't want to take away anything from anybody. But some of those years, maybe when you were like 5 or 6 and it was just the three of us, me, you, and Anthony, and we could be in our own little bubble for a little while, and you know, there wasn't somebody necessarily other than, you know, my grandparents to have you do for me. So we would, I don't know if you remember this, we would just maybe like pick up a pizza and watch a movie and just do those kind of things. I really liked those. They were just calm and easy, and you tried to put all the drama of everything else, housework and people, away. And those were kind of fun.
If I could relive one Mother's Day, it was 2009. Damon had brought me this necklace, and it was a heart, and inside the heart was a lady and a baby. I didn't pay attention to the lady and the baby until after he was deceased. I thought it was just inside, just something inside of the heart. So when I saw it, I was like, oh gosh. And it made me cry because I noticed it was the lady holding a baby. That was one of the best Mother's Day I could think of because it was something that he gave me. Now I lost it. I didn't lose it. It was stolen when I was in a car wreck, though, at Skyline. So I don't have the necklace anymore. But that was like the best Mother's Day because he gave me that necklace.
What does motherhood look like for you now in your current season? So you touched on, you obviously went through a season of having kids, raising kids, the loss of children. You touched on that a little bit. So going through all of those seasons, now you sit here in 2024. What does motherhood look like for you now?
It's about me.
Okay. Explain that a little bit.
So over the years, I've given myself to everyone, even my children. I'm an empty nester. So there's no one there with me. So it's not only peaceful, but I miss it.
Yeah.
I miss my children, like all of them together. I miss that moment.
Yeah.
I really miss it. When it's too quiet, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Because I miss it sometimes. But there again, I have to find my way. So I go back to, it's your time.
Motherhood now is, man, it's all consuming. Motherhood is basically my whole existence. It's all I do. I feel like it's all I do. Every decision that I make, every the food I get at the grocery store, everything I do really pretty much revolves around Blakely and what's best for her, and what the next thing is going to be for her. I know that we won't always be in that season, but getting up at 4 a.m. so that I can have my Jesus time before she wakes up, and it's staying up later at night so that I can wash dishes and take a shower, and I guess that's another thing to mention is in my season of motherhood and being a solo mom, I do have to strategically plan a lot of things, like when I'm going to take a shower. And that's not something people typically think about. For a long time, I would sit there and tell myself, well, I'm not a single mom. I did not have a kid out of wedlock. I did not have a kid, blah, 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 blah. Like, I kept saying all these things. Well, I'm not like other single moms because of this and this and this and this and this. And, like, I put myself on this pedestal of people should have more sympathy for me and people should treat me different and I should be blah, 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 blah. Like, I expected so much because my story's like this, but this person over here has this story and I didn't do that. And then I got really convicted. Actually, very, very recently, I've been very convicted about this, like, victim mentality and, like, putting myself up on this pedestal. And then just to be completely 100% honest, I probably should have ended up like some of the other people that I was putting down because of some of the decisions that I made in my younger days. Like, I'm no better than anybody else just because of my situation. And anyway, it's just been very, I guess, sobering or whatever, enlightening to kind of have that revelation of knocking myself down off of that pedestal because I'm not any better than somebody else that is a stereotypical single mom. And one of the main reasons that I strive or focusing on trying to keep myself healthy is I am her whole world. Like, she's so dependent on me. She's so reliant on me. I have to be at the top of my game all the time. I don't get I can't pass her off to Dad. I can't pass her off to Grandma. And I'm the one she needs. I'm the only one that can make her feel better, or when she's sad or whatever, I'm the only one that can do that. So, which, while that's, it's good and bad. Like, it makes me feel really good. Oh, I'm I'm so important to her. But then on the other hand, it's very exhausting. But anyway, I just love her so much.
There are days where it is nice to, like, the idea of dropping her off at school. You almost feel bad that you look forward to that.
Yeah.
Do you
just
deal with that
said
at all?
What I'm thinking.
Yeah. It just, and then you want to be, but like in your heart, I always tell Amanda, I was like, all day long, I feel like I'm just counting down till bedtime. And then as soon as I lay her down, I go sit in my chair and I'm like, and I kind of miss her now.
And you look at the camera.
It's such a tension, but I think so many parents live in that tension all the time.
When Blakely and I are together, like before school, after school, on the days she doesn't go to school, like, I just want to be as present and as mentally stable as possible. And I say that because Blakely is not a typical 4-year-old. She has special needs. She's neurotypically more like a 2.5-year-old. And I've actually been spending a lot of my time and energy, like, trying to get the right resources for her and figure out what the right resources are for her. And so I have to have a space. Like, one of the things I've figured out over the course of the last 2 years is there has to be a space of when I'm not with her. And that is, like you said before, it's a really, you feel guilty for wanting that, but I've learned, and any mom in the history of moms could probably say this, but you have to take your time away from them so that you can be better when you're with them. And I feel like that is one of those disciplines that we just have to you have to discipline yourself to do all these things for your life, but disciplining myself that when I am away from her and when we aren't together, like, I'm doing things that are making me a better mom. I'm going to therapy, or I'm going to the gym to work out, or I'm whatever, or I'm doing my Bible study, or whatever it is, like, because when we get together, I want to make sure my phone is down. I'm not on the phone. I'm not talking to a friend. We might go out to eat and have and hang out with some friends when she is with me, but the majority of our time is going to be with just us, focused on each other, or my attention is focused on her. So
I still worry. It's that fine line of, okay, they're adults now. I can worry about them, but they have to be able to make adult decisions, and I don't need to, interfere. Yeah, you advise without interfering, or saying, "Oh, you shouldn't do that." Like, I can't ground you anymore if you do something that I don't agree with.
No, for sure.
That kind of thing.
That a lot of the people that we were interviewing they've had a very hard, not just a very difficult time in their motherhood, just the circumstances that they were dealt. And I feel very blessed after hearing a lot of what I've got to hear of just the support that I've had with having a husband who goes to work, but also doesn't have a crazy schedule and is very available. And having my grandmother and having your mom, who at the drop of the hat will pick up Joe and take us when we need it, or when we just want to, go on a date or whatever. Even just our friends, who just love us and love her, who are just there for us all the time. That I just feel very grateful for this season of motherhood, where I equally feel like, I mean, if you asked me in a bad day, I probably wouldn't say this, but I feel like a good and present mom, but also my own person, where I get to run my own business and go hang out with my friends, and I, have my hobbies like kayaking or hiking that I get to do with or without her sometimes. And I think I am in a very beautiful stage of motherhood that I don't think I could have done without the support system that I am very, very blessed to have, that not many people are able to have. And I think sometimes I feel guilty, and I try to make life harder on myself by not asking people to do certain things, because I know a lot of people don't have the resources that I have. But
So let's stop right there for a second and talk about that. Why do you think you do that? Why not? Why is there shame behind having the support?
I think that part of it is my own stubbornness. I like to be very independent, and I think to myself, well, if they can do it, I can do it. They don't get the choice to. I should be strong enough to be able to do it on my own. And also just feeling, I don't think it's right. It's just like a natural thing that comes up, of that guilt of like, they don't get to have it, and there's really not a whole lot that I can do about it. I can't pick your kid up. I can't, there's occasionally that I can babysit or whatever for people. But as far as that consistent support system that I'm blessed to have, I can't really be that for other people. So I just choose to not exercise that resource on my own. Like I said, I know it's not right. I know it's not like a good thing in my mind. And I have a lot of people on the sidelines just like mad at me that I'm not utilizing it, because I'm taking away a blessing on their end too, you know? But it's just that natural reaction of mine, my own stubbornness, my own pride, my own independence, and like trying to prove something. Yeah, and I think I had to get to a point that I realized I was robbing Joe of a lot. I was robbing her of quality time with family and friends, and I was robbing her of a more emotionally stable and happy mom, just because of that pride and arrogance that I had, or this sacrificialness that I was trying to prove. That way I could relate, to the single or solo mom out there. I hope that I'll never have to relate to that. And I feel bad that I don't get to relate to that sometimes, but that's just not the story that God's put in my life, and I'm very grateful for that. And my story is hard in a lot of other ways.
So
And
let's touch on that. So the next question is, what's hard for you about Mother's Day? Because we talk about all the blessings that you do have. Give us a little insight on what is difficult about Mother's Day for you.
the most difficult thing, and as pretty much everybody who's ever listened to the podcast knows, that my mom is not here anymore. That I lost her 4 years ago now. And I'll try not to cry talking about this. But like, I had to go into motherhood without a mom. And there's just always an emptiness on Mother's Day, and that's a reminder. You see people who get to show up with their moms at church with, they take the pictures and they go to the lunch, and I try to focus on Nana and try to focus on your mom, and I try to focus on being that for Joe. But there's just that hole in your heart that just will never be filled, and you can't ignore it, especially when it's just broadcasted on a national level like that. So, and like I said, I entered motherhood without that present example in my life. So there really hasn't been that constant voice in my life telling me how to do things, or what they did wrong or what they did right with us, or sharing those memories of what I was like as a kid. I lost mom and dad, so I don't have either side of it. So it's just, yeah, it's just the emptiness, and that no matter how much love and how much support that I have, there will be that piece that unfortunately will always be missing on a day like Mother's Day, probably any holiday, honestly. But also, like, it is a reminder, as me being a mom every day, where people get to call up their moms and ask them questions, or share those memories, or talk about, oh, you remember Mother's Day when I was little? I don't get to have those conversations, and that, like I said, it's just a big broadcasted moment. You don't get to ignore it on Mother's Day, no matter how hard you try. I try to be positive about it. I think people who have similar circumstances like mine, you just choose to focus on other things. And now I do have this beautiful life that I get to share and focus on instead. But it also is just like this little tap on your shoulder all the time of like, remember, she's not here either. So
What makes it tough is me not having my mother.
Okay.
That's what makes it tough. Other than that, it's like I said, it's another day.
It's just another day.
Yeah.
What is it when you and you might have explained this already earlier when we were talking about her, but specifically, what is it about her absence that makes it challenging, and what do you do kind of to handle that?
Because she was life. She was life. She was, and she was the glue to even with the grandchildren, even with my children. it's like we was always all together. It was always together. It's not about gifts. It's about togetherness to me. I mean, you come together, and that's what it is. So mom was around. Everybody was there.
I think the loneliness, and that goes with Mother's Day and most of the holidays, honestly. Um, there's, I mean, until my daughter gets older, I mean, she doesn't really understand that, what Mother's Day is or whatever. I mean, she loves her mama. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, she's super sweet. And she's also 4, and she's also a toddler. So just take that for what it's worth. But, you don't have, I don't have a lot of, I don't want to say this the wrong way. Like, we don't really have a lot of people that invite us out to do things on holidays. And I also don't want to be around a lot of other people with their families like that. Like
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I think there's that maybe that like you don't want to feel like a burden because you want them to enjoy
yeah,
that with their families
right.
too. Yeah,
And I also don't want to be uncomfortable. Like, I don't want us to be uncomfortable, and y'all don't be uncomfortable. I don't know.
yeah,
So Mother's Day and like Christmas and Thanksgiving and all the holidays, I think for us or for me, it's just kind of, they're not big days. Like, they're just normal days. Like, we just continue on with our regular life. I'm not, I've had some really hard ones probably in the first year, like after Chris died. But then more so, I would say in this past year, it's been more of just steady on, stay the course. Just keep doing what we're doing, do our regular routine, just keep doing what we regularly do. But to going back to the hardest part, like I said about the loneliness, it's like we normally go out to eat with friends on Sunday after church, and I'll probably not even ask anybody because I don't want to be rejected. I don't want, oh, sorry, I'm going to meet my mom for lunch or whatever. So I just don't even ask, quite honestly.
So then, while we're on that, because I think this maybe would help people who are listening to, from your perspective, we talk about like you don't want to invite yourself, but you also sometimes don't necessarily want to be invited. On the other side of the fence, what's something that we could do if we're interacting with a solo mom to help in that scenario? Like, because there's the practical side of like it's Mother's Day Sunday. I'm blessed enough I still have my grandmother, my mother, and now my wife is a mom, so that's 3 women right there. But I don't want to just exclude everyone else.
Yeah.
If someone who finds themselves in a situation like that, what can we do to help make Mother's Day, Christmas, Thanksgiving, those holidays more enjoyable or more inclusive to people more in your scenario? What could we do?
Just acknowledge them. Just acknowledge the fact that they're mothers, or just acknowledge the fact that even if it is a hard conversation, just acknowledge, hey, I know you might be spending Mother's Day alone. I just wanted you to know I was thinking about you. Something that simple.
The hardest part for me is when I don't get a lot of time with you guys, to not feel bitter about it. Because it's not intended to be that way. I know everybody has busy lives. You have Joe now, and it's really your focus too to make sure that Amanda feels special. But you don't want to be forgotten.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I struggle with, and just trying to make sure that again, people have to work their jobs. Not everybody has a Monday through Friday job and that kind of stuff. So that is one of the hard parts for me.
Okay. What is it that helps you kind of get through those when it is difficult, like when you say I don't want to be bitter, or I want to be understanding, when those Mother's Days happen, or even just those days happen,
Right.
what is it that kind of helps you? What do you do to kind of help you get through that?
Honestly, it just takes a moment or a breath or a thought or a prayer about it to really come into focus, because that's your initial reaction if somebody's forgotten me. And then I can sit and look at my busy life and go, there's things I've forgotten before, and it's never intentional that I'm not thought of. There are other things. Mother's Day is a day that is supposed to be designed. It's become really commercial, but at the end of the day, it was originally just, hey, let's show appreciation, for our moms and all they do, right? It's just to set aside a special day. But the reality is that you guys do stuff for me all year long. And so, I just need to know, I need to look back and go, hey, maybe it didn't happen today or this weekend, but here's what's happened the last, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And I know that I'm appreciated. Do I wish they'd have remembered me today? And from it's also a challenge too in being a step parent, because they have so many parents, and you didn't give birth to those kids. And although I feel like they're my own, because I mean, let's face it, they've been in my life for 20 years now. You got to find that balance too, because you're like, oh well, I want to be included, and they're good, they're really good about it, don't get me wrong. But there's always that, if they happen to forget or happen to get busy, am I not as important as somebody else? And I know in my heart that that's not the case, but we're human, and your first instinct is, well, I'm just not important.
No, for sure.
And that comes through with you and your brother too.
Yeah.
But, you just sit back, you need to take a breath and think about it and go, don't be an idiot. You know that that's not the case.
What keeps it positive? God keeps it positive. Because I have God. So it's not quiet. It's not, I feel like it's quiet, but it's really not. Because I can go back. I can do things like just get up and go. Get up, get on my clothes, shower, get on clothes, go to church. You ain't got to worry about nobody tagging along with you. But you can just be free. Because the thing is, you can't sit around. Even though sometimes you do want to be in that moment, allow yourself the moment, but just don't get stuck there. Because my thing is, when I start getting in that moment, I feel it. Sometimes I push it way back here. They say, don't do that. Keep it back there. I don't want to deal with that. And when I feel it coming up, then I have to find something where I don't think. So I'll get up and I'll go. I'll do something, because I don't want to sit and dwell on none of that. I mean, it hurts. It's life, and you'll get through it. You'll be fine. So for mothers, that's what I say. You just watch your children grow into who they are, and it's breathtaking. Yeah. Everybody's not perfect. We are not perfect. Right. But just seeing your children growing up and becoming adults, that's everything. Yeah. That's priceless.
I think here recently I'm learning just to allow the feelings, that they're not bad, that I'm okay to be sad about it. It's okay to miss her. It's okay to just not know what to do in those moments or sit in those feelings. But also that one of the beautiful things about motherhood is, well, I think is beautiful anyways, is I don't get to sit in those feelings. I have a little girl who will run up to me asking for my attention, and I'm going to choose to give that to her instead of sitting in those moments. And I think it's a beautiful way that my mom would have been happy that that's what I'm choosing to do with my time instead.
How has being a mom shaped your relationship with God?
Wow. I think I got something in my eyeball.
No, you're good. I get it all the time. I feel you. I get it.
I was gonna try not to get anything in my eyes while I was here, but I can't help it. So yeah, I know this is not a podcast about me, but we can make it about me.
No, it's about Mother's Day, so let's make it about you.
So I became a Christian when I was 12. So that's when I officially, believed that Jesus died for me and that he saved me and that I was going to go to heaven when I died. I've always believed that since then. I spent a lot of my time between 12 and when I became a mother, which was 40, by the way. I didn't have Blakely until I was 40. Not really pursuing a relationship with Christ. And I'll be the first to say that my marriage was not built on a relationship with Christ. And then I think after becoming a mother, even just still being in the hospital, I remember praying and just praying over her in the hospital. And I remember that being kind of the catalyst of my relationship beginning to actually grow. And over the course of everything that's happened since then, I don't know, I have just felt like God has pulled me in to him. And yeah, it has, being a mother has significantly changed my spirituality. Is that a word? And just my walk with him and my reliance on him and my dependence and all, my life is completely different as a mother, which everybody probably can say that. But as far as my relationship with God,
It's definitely had ups and downs. And I say that just from a lot of perspectives because, I mean, and that's anything with life, right? But there are times and when you have a child that you're trying to do what's best for them, but it's harder when it's a little person that has, this to say, what is it? Let go and let God, because you feel like they're your responsibility.
Yeah, for sure.
And as a infant or toddler or small child, yes, but as they get older, the same thing now, as you as adults, like, you riding your street bike. Instead of me being stressed out knowing you're on it, you have to do that. So I think when you were younger, it was harder on me. Like if something happened, human nature, right? You broke your arm. Oh, why did God let this happen? That's your instinct. Why would God let my child be hurt or that kind of thing? And I've been blessed, knock on wood, that I can't imagine a parent that had like, a child with cancer or something like that feels in that scenario. But in my personal life, you go through those phases of, even getting divorced. Why would God let this happen to me and my children kind of thing?
Right.
But as I've gotten older and reconnected and religions have changed. I say religions, different things are not as strict as they were, when I was younger. It's changed and evaluated that as well. So that's why I definitely think it's kind of a wave or a rhythm to it. It's definitely been ups and downs. I think in the long run, it's stronger.
Yeah.
But that's me having to, let go.
How has being a mother shaped your relationship with God over the years?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So I hope I'm saying this correctly. It has shaped me so much. I mean, I've always been in church. And my children, they've always been right there with me. So, how can I put it? It made me be the best mother that I can be. Mm-hmm. My children shaped me. Well, God shapes us. But my children they made me who I am, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because everything I did was for them. So that's who made me. That they made me become this person. And still to this day, I feel like they're still watching me. So I got to keep being the best person that I know to be. So that's why I keep working and striving to be the best. That's why I go back to school and try to get things together, because now not only that my children are watching, but my grandchildren are watching, and people that I have came in contact with. I feel like, oh wow, She had all those kids. She did it. As a mother, I can do it. That's why sometimes I get upset, a little upset, when I hear mothers, young mothers, complain about 1 and 2 kids and not, you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah, and I would imagine, and if this is too far, we don't have to go there. But was there a time or a season where that was single motherhood for a little while?
I've been single all my life.
Okay.
Okay, my children. I mean, their father was there, but I've been by myself.
Yeah.
For like maybe 20 years. I had someone, but it didn't work. But I've always been that mother. Regardless of who you're with, you still have to make sure you as a mother, to make sure those kids are good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to. You have to motivate yourself, for one thing. We can all just sit and we can dwell and we can, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. I didn't feel like I was a good mother in the beginning. I didn't.
Why is that?
Because I had, a single mother I had a lot of kids.
Yeah.
I used to think when I used to go in church, these people used to stare at me with all these kids. Like, you would walk in, you could walk in and they be staring at you. You would feel like you didn't have on no clothes. Like, what are y'all looking at? Like,
Yeah.
and like, oh, look at her. All them kids, where's her husband? Like,
No, for sure. For sure. Especially, I know my mom was a single mom. Her and my dad split when I was almost 2. And she shares stories of, especially church in the 90s. Single motherhood was almost a shame. Like, it was a shameful thing.
Yes.
And so I know she talks about how it affected her relationship with the Lord. It made her, one, not want to be as involved, but 2, it became very, like you said about raising kids, but with her relationship with the Lord, it became very much, it's either you or no one. Because pastors aren't checking on you. People aren't checking on you, because in the 90s, it was like, well, what'd you do? Why are you, like, you got yourself in this situation kind of attitude. You got to figure it out.
You got to figure it out. See, I brought them up. They was, my boys was like, they did drill team. Like, I kept them in church, even though I was like straddling the fence, because I was here. I was at church, but then I get tired and don't want to go to church. Then you got to get all the kids up. You got to get them ready. And then by the time you get done getting ready, you tired. Like, it's like, do I have to go to church?
You're right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For
And
sure.
but my kids, I will say that, because when I would go to work, that's who I was working for.
Yeah.
And I wasn't making a lot of money.
Right. Okay.
That's why, a lot of people, not only mothers, we complain about not having, oh, I don't make enough. You just do what you got to do. You do what you got to do to make your children, take care of them. God gave them to you.
I think probably the cliche answer would be that unconditional love that I thought I understood before being a mom. That literally Joe does nothing but smile at me, or even before that, even when she was just a potato, I would literally die for her. I remember when she was even in my belly, and I would have I remember, and it's probably a morbid conversation, but when we were talking about like the actual birth and everything, you hear a lot of horror stories and everything. And I looked at you and I was like, if anything like that ever happens and you have to decide, you don't pick me. And like that just love before literally I hadn't even met her yet. And I now understand, like I thought I understood that's how God loved me. But to know that's how he loves me, and that's just a smidge of it. Like I won't even, like that's just the biggest comprehension that I'll ever be able to have towards it. That's pretty freaking awesome. And I think that shaped a lot of grace in my life when I think that I've really messed up and I want to just kick myself while I'm down, that he's not doing that, because that's not what I would do to Joe. And when I pick myself back up, he's cheering me on when I do it, because that's what I would do with Joe. There's just so many resemblances between how proud I am of her and how much I love her and how much I want her to succeed in everything that she does, that I can imagine that that's how God is viewing us too.
What would you tell someone else who's in the same stage of motherhood as you are right now?
Oh man, come be my friend. I'll be your friend. Let's just no. That I will go off on that tangent actually, because we have a lot of friends. We are so blessed. But I would really like, this is me, shameless plug. I would really like to have a solo mom friend who is chasing after the Lord at the same time. And I don't mean that negatively towards any of my friends at all, but yeah, I would really love to have somebody that I could connect with that's in a very similar stage of life. But what I would tell you, besides come be my friend, is just keep going. Just like you said before, there's not going to be, there's probably not going to be some magic thing that happens or whatever, but let's just keep moving forward. It's going to be a hard day. It's going to be a good day. There's going to be a hard day. There's going to be a good day. There's going to be a lot of mediocre days, and let's just keep moving forward.
Give yourself grace when you're sad, and to give yourself grace when you're happy. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but I think a lot of us are just trying to be really strong, and we feel like we fail a lot in what we're doing because we don't know what we're doing, because I have no idea what I'm doing most of the time. And I would just say that you're doing what's best for your kid, and like that's the most amazing thing that you could do today. And then also when you're happy, I think I can equally beat myself up with, like we were talking about earlier, of like, I have this support system, I have, this great career, I have these great hobbies, and the whole time I'm feeling guilty, or not the whole time, but a lot of the time I'm feeling guilty while I'm out enjoying myself or spending money on myself, or, even the fact that I have a career that I love is like, well, I should be, making more money so that she has more, or, I'm spending too much time with her, and all of these things. And it's just like, no, I just need to get, like, it's okay that I'm happy too. That tussle of emotions between like overwhelming joy and grieving this season is one that is so difficult to understand and to really ever get on board with. I don't know if you ever can really make that normal. But I think when somebody put it in those terms for me, that grief and joy can happen at the same time, and you're a normal person for having those. Every time your little girl, or every time Joe hits a new milestone, there's like this overwhelming joy that she did it, and also this grief that she's never going to drink from a bottle again. She's never going to use that toy again, or need that little bath in the sink anymore, and it's just like, I'm so happy and also grieving this baby that I'll never see again. And that is okay and perfectly normal that those two emotions sit together. As much as I would love to go back to that first Mother's Day and hold that little potato again, I wouldn't trade it for the little girl that I have right now. I love her so much. We are like best friends, and we just get into trouble all day together. And like, and I'll be saying this next year. I'll be saying, as much as I love that little girl, I'm so happy to have this bigger girl this year, you know?
And a little boy.
Right.
Stop sign.
Yes. But it is like, there is, I think that's where like the joy and the grief, they do sit together, but there's a point in time where the joy does take over and the grief subsides.
What would you tell someone in your stage of motherhood this Mother's Day if you were talking to you 20 years ago? What would you say to that mother, to that single mom with a couple of kids who's struggling to make ends meet? What would you say to her?
Keep fighting. Keep having the faith. Because it'll pay off in the end. The big pictures, and you'll see it. You know, you might not see it right now, but you will. You will. God will carry you through everything. Allow God. What I would tell mothers that has kids now, God will carry you through. I wish I would have knew God like I know him now, then. You know, I thought it was just me then. Like, God, that was me doing all that. No, it wasn't. No. So, yeah, allow God. Keep God first. Keep him first. Everything else will follow. When you got God, you got everything else. God will show you the way. And that's just it. That's what I would tell them. That's all I know now.
You know, you just got to hope for the best and let it go if it doesn't happen the way you want to go. You know, if your kids are too busy, don't guilt them, because guilt is not going to make them come any closer to you. Right. You know, now if you've got kids that are jerks and they're like this 364 days a year, don't expect them to be any different because it's Mother's Day either. Okay. But, you know, if something happens this year and they can't make you the priority, and it's not something silly that they're, you know, laying around on the couch playing Xbox, you know, don't hold it over them. Don't guilt them until next Mother's Day. Yeah. Accept the phase that you're in, you know? Yeah, yeah. And just all you can do is love your kids, because at some point you never know what could happen. I mean, they might not be here next year at Mother's Day, or you may not be. So try to forgive. I know it's easy to say, and I know not all kids are perfect, but that would be my advice. You know, evaluate the last 365 days. And is it going to matter if you're upset the day after Mother's Day over one day out of the year?
Bringing us all the way back out of the deep stuff. What is it that you want for Mother's Day this year?
I just want my children. I would want everybody together, if anything. And if you can't come, then that's okay too. But I want to see all of them under one roof. Okay. And my grandchildren. Yeah. We don't have to be inside. We could be outside. I mean, I'm not an outdoors person, but okay. But if that's what happens, that happen. But yeah, I would love to see all of them.
Okay.
I would love that.
Yeah. Well, if y'all are listening, get together. Y'all come over. What do you want for Mother's Day this year?
Goodness. There's so many things I want. I want my lashes done. I want new clothes. I want a massage. I want to sleep in. Most of all, like, just thinking about Mother's Day, there really isn't like a gift, the idea that I have in mind. I think I'm just so excited just to have like this first, quote unquote, first Mother's Day with Joe, and just be able to I hope she's in a good mood. That's all. I just want Joe to be in a good mood, and for all of us to sleep really well.
Yeah. What is it that you want for Mother's Day this year?
I would love just for all of us to hang out. You know, y'all laugh at me because each year on my birthday, all I ask for is like the pool day where everybody's hangs at the pool. We order pizza because it's not any responsibility of anybody cooking. Yeah. And we may even go to Dairy Queen and get some ice cream, you know? Yeah. That kind of day, as I get older, is my favorite. And whether it be Christmas, birthday, Mother's Day, and it doesn't always have to be at my place or whatever, but that's it. Let's hang out as adults and enjoy each other's time and the kids and grandkids. That's my favorite right now in this season of my life. I don't need presents. I don't need, expensive dinners. Just hang out with me. Let me know I matter to you.
I'm glad that I asked that on camera too, so when I go back later and I need to figure out what I'm scrolling through Amazon for what to buy you, I can stop and just go get a pizza.
I mean
Okay.
it though. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm an adult. I can buy stuff, but I can't buy your time.
Yeah, no, that's really good.
But I'll let you know what I want on my pizza.
Okay. All right. What is it that Annie wants for Mother's Day this year?
Okay. The first thing that popped in my mind, what do I want for Mother's Day? And I thought, I would love to sit on my couch and watch a movie and eat popcorn and stay up really late and then sleep in.
Okay.
That's it. That's
love
it.
that.
And then get up and take a shower whenever I want to take a shower. And then I thought, you know what? What if somebody is really listening to this and actually wants to, get filled by the Spirit and they're like, oh, I'm going to go do something for Annie. And I thought, oh, I need to think of something really practical that somebody would get me. Maybe my mom's listening or somebody. So I thought, I really need a new handheld vacuum cleaner. Okay. That would be, that's something, because mine's broken and I've just been doing without it for a while. So I could really go for a handheld vacuum cleaner. And then my brain starts going into more practical things. And I'm like, trash pickup service would be good.
Okay.
Because, I don't pay for that. That's just not something that's in my budget. I always take my trash to the trash dump. But it would be really nice not to have to do that.
I could get you a burn barrel.
Well, I have a burn pile. I do have
You just start burning your garbage. Oh, you live in the city limits, though, don't
Yeah.
you? Nah, never mind.
Yeah.
Continue.
But then I thought, well, if people don't want to give gifts that are practical, and I thought, well, maybe I'll ask for not just a manicure, but bi-weekly manicures for a year.
Ooh, okay.
And then I'm like, if I'm going to go this extreme, I should start asking for money. And I thought, well,
okay.
I could use $1,000.
Okay.
That would be great.
Love it.
And then I thought, I'm just going,
Shoot for the stars.
I don't want to have small dreams. I don't
Right.
want to have small prayers.
Come on.
Why can't I would love for someone to come pay off my mortgage at my house.
Ooh. Love
So then I realized I really am living in this pipe dream world. So I'm going to just go all the way back to the beginning. If I'm going to really be in this pipe dream and that's what I really want for Mother's Day, I'm just going to go back to just wanting to be able to sleep in.
Okay. I love it. A little popcorn and movies and then sleeping in the next morning.
Yes, I'm going
That's not too much to ask.
That is my final answer.
Thank you guys for listening. As always, like, subscribe, comment, DM us if you have any questions or just want to reach out to us. Check out our merch. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Peace.